Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Bell with Dr. Javier Montañez, your superintendent here in the Providence Public Schools. As we know, our students come to school to learn how to read, write, do math. But it's so much more when we think about wrapping services around students and making sure that the students have the tools that they will need and the strategies to be successful in life. And one of those tools that we'll be discussing today is called Restorative Circle. And with us, we have Dr. Gallo. Ooh, Mr. Gallo.
I'll take the promotion.
You take
okay.
the promotion. Mr. Gallo, who actually does all the work behind Restorative Circles. So I want to make sure that our students have those tools. And by making sure that we have those tools, we have Dr. Gallo that will explain to us what those are. But before we start, Dr. Gallo, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? You know, how long you've been in the district? What have you done in the district? And then how did it lead, the work that you have done, lead you to the work you're doing today?
Absolutely. Great question. Thank you. So I've been in the district for over 20 years. I started at Hope High School. I was working in the special education field in what we call a departmentalized classroom. I had the privilege of working under Dr. Montague, Dr. Anye, Scott Sutherland. So I saw a lot of change, a lot of the district evolved, so to speak.
Exactly.
And as things changed, my position evolved. At some point in time during that tenure of my time, we wrote a proposal for the A Venture School, which became a place where we worked with all of our students that fit that need, that needed an alternative learning program, an alternative setting where we could really personalize their learning, dedicated to them. From there, I transitioned into my new role right now, where I work under Sandra Stewart, and I am the Restorative Practices Manager. I had the privilege of getting to go to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania over the summer, and I trained under the International Institute of Restorative Practices, where I'm able to now bring back that knowledge and help with all of our students in all of the schools, not just the A Venture building. I get to actually see the students from our elementary schools to our high schools. I've been able to host circles with first graders to 12th graders. Wow. I've been able to work with HR and host different type of circles with them as well. So it's really been a fun ride and learning on the go and doing all these new things.
That's interesting that you say that, because you have trainings like train the trainer, right? You get trained, you come back, you share that knowledge. So for many of our viewers that may not know what restorative circles are, can you explain what that is?
Okay, all right. So restorative circles is a tool that we use inside of restorative practices. So restorative practices comes to us from a worldwide lens, so to speak, where we learned from the indigenous people around the globe, which is why when I start any type of circle, when I'm with our students and I'm with our staff, I like to give a land acknowledgement to the Narragansett Indians. When we were in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, we would actually do a land acknowledgement to the Onapi. And then, of course, I want to make sure I mention anybody I might have forgotten. But we've learned about all of the restorative practices through the indigenous people around the globe. It's kind of the art of storytelling, and you are a master of it. So,
so I have another question. Okay, when do you use restorative circle?
All right, so that's a great question. I think we should use it all the time. I think it's a great icebreaker. You're walking into my science class. Hey, what do you want to learn? What did you learn? It could be stuff, icebreakers, as easy as that. So you can use it as an opening question to invoke conversation. You can use it as a closing circle to end a lesson. But more importantly, if anybody has some type of conflict or harm, we can use a circle format to help people have a voice where every voice is heard and they're able to make an I statement about their feelings. And we would call that a circle of harm repair or a conflict. And we would, as many folks as it takes, usually we like to keep the circle small, 7 or so, but anybody that's involved in the incident, and each person will have the same set of questions, and they'll all have a voice. They'll all be able to talk about their feelings. We actually utilize a talking piece just to make sure that you understand whoever's holding that talking piece, you have the floor. So there's no over talking.
And that's one of the things that I like, because it teaches our students how to listen and not anticipate to give an answer. Truly listen. What does that look like? What does that sound like? So when you're able to give that I message, and for our viewers out there, an I message is simple. I like it when, and I don't like it when. So you're able to use either one of those. So based on the work that you have done, what is the typical impact on students when they go through a restorative circle? What does that look like?
So typically a restorative circle allows them to repair an incident and come back to their learning community, to reinstall their dignity, to allow them to restore themselves as a student to where they were and come back to their learning community. The other type of circles that we do, and we're able to reach all students, and it doesn't have to be a time of harm. This is why this one's kind of my favorite one. We can do a listening circle. And a listening circle can happen around any event, a major event in the community, a major event in your school. We could have a listening circle around graduation time. It's so exciting.
Really
How do you
important.
feel about it?
Absolutely,
And you know, and there's highs and lows that go with it. And every voice would be heard. And that would be an example of a listening circle that we could have.
Based on your experience doing this, how do you see it impact the students? What do they come back? Do they have conversations? What is the outcome, or what is most likely the outcomes that come from these restorative circles or listening circles?
A lot of our students and a lot of our adults are very humbled by the experience, and they're very thankful that they've had the voice to be heard, that we didn't just read about an incident or talk about an incident, that we actually heard how they feel. And when you allow somebody to say how they feel, and no, there's nothing wrong with how you feel.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with how you feel.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
your perspective may be different. And, you know, it's that classic example. Two men come to a crossroads. Two people come to a crossroads. I look down, I see a snake, and I freeze. You look down and you see a rope, and you're wondering which way to go. Change your position, change your perspective. And in those circles, we're allowed to do that. When I hear how you feel, I start to invoke my empathy, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know he felt like that. And I see a lot of handshaking and fist bumping.
That's a huge impact, because you know I've also done some restorative circle as a building administrator, and it's about the perception of the situation
So many times.
that people tend to react to, instead of taking a step back and ask themselves the simple question is, why is he or she thinking that? Why is he or she acting that way? Because usually it's not the incident that happened at the moment. There is a core somewhere in there that becomes a trigger for those individuals. Then that can either a fight or flight situation, and then how do they themselves respond to that? So how do we teach our students to take a step back, take a breather, and says, what is the best way to approach any of these circumstances that we may be facing? If there's anything that you can tell anyone that's watching our podcast right now about Restorative Circle, what is the one thing that you would like for them to take away from this?
That everybody's feelings matter, that everybody's perspective is different. And when we peel it back and we really listen to what people have to say and how they feel, and you look inside yourself and you say, why did I react that way? It allows you to change your perspective. And hopefully we're opening eyes and ears with our students, which I truly believe we are. And they're enjoying, or they're thriving in a scenario where they're able to talk about their feelings and to be heard. I really, really, truly believe 85% of the circles that I have done have been successful simply because that person was able to talk about how they felt and be heard. Whether the other person accepted it or not,
But
they got it off their chest, so to speak.
and sometimes that's what we need. We need someone to just hear us out.
100%.
Right? So, well, I want to say to everyone out there, thank you for the opportunity for joining in with us. Thank you, John.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
For coming in and applying.
Thank
so
you.
once again, from me to you, thank you for joining Beyond the Bell with Dr. Javier Montañez, your superintendent here in the Providence Public School. As always, one love.